In the world of Grimm, mermaids are undoubtedly the most beautiful creatures in the water, but male mermaids are the most frustrated of all. For they are born with infertility. To bear offspring, mermaids must befriend humans. Thus, this became a secret the merfolk vowed to guard with their lives. One day, two young mermen encountered a pair of beautiful sisters. They hit it off instantly, chatting with ease. The sisters even invited them to play in the river. Jack couldn't contain himself any longer. He scooped up Anna and plunged into the water, and felt a bit thirsty and asked Mike to wait a moment. She went to the car to fetch some drinks. Then she wandered into the bushes, and caught her sister Lisa peeking through the foliage. It turned out Lisa was deaf and mute. Yet she had fallen for Mike at first sight. She begged her sister not to choose Mike, and just stared at her sister in disbelief. Being with humans would never end well for them. There was no such thing as love. If she didn't leave now, she'd tell their father and have him punished. After returning, and seductively slipped out of her bikini, and invited Mike to play in the water. Mike drooled and immediately dove in. Just as they were having fun, Lisa returned. She secretly took Mike's phone, and flipped through the photos on it. This action nearly doomed their entire family. At that moment, the four in the water were having a blast. But less than a minute later, Mike shivered. Before he could recover, Jack was in trouble, and hurriedly told Mike to get out of the water quickly. But he swam desperately toward Jack. Halfway there, a hand suddenly grabbed his ankle. He was quickly pulled under. Soon after, Mike surfaced. Lisa revealed her mermaid form and pulled him ashore. Thanks to her timely rescue, Mike came back to life. In his hazy state, he saw Lisa's true mermaid form. Seeing Mike awake, Lisa swiftly fled the scene, though Mike narrowly escaped death. His companion wasn't so fortunate. The next day, police recovered Jack's body. Preliminary findings suggested drowning, but the wounds on his feet caught Nick's attention. He suspected they looked more like claw marks. They immediately tracked down Mike, who had called the police. Learning his friend had drowned, Mike was devastated. He recounted the previous day's events once more. He vaguely remembered a girl saving him. In his hazy state, he glimpsed her appearance, though he couldn't be certain. The group immediately returned to the scene but found no clues. Then Nick's super hearing kicked in. Someone seemed to be peering from the bushes. It was Lisa. Nick immediately gave chase. Seeing trouble, Lisa plunged into the river. In the blink of an eye, she swam dozens of meters away. Mike instantly recognized her as the girl from yesterday. That speed couldn't possibly be human. Nick quickly sought out the all-knowing Monroe, but Monroe knew little about aquatic creatures, so the trio headed to the RV to search ancient texts. Sure enough, they found records about mermaids. Ancestor Grimm had once captured a mermaid. She was stunningly beautiful and utterly mesmerizing. Ancestor Grimm sought to understand why mermaids seduced human males, only to kill them in the end. But the mermaid remained silent. When he discovered her skin began to crack upon leaving the water, he planned to use this as leverage. Unexpectedly, the mermaid dried up and died the next day. The mystery remained unsolved. A colleague called. Having tracked Mike's phone location, the group rushed to the coordinates immediately. He handed Mike a pair of binoculars, asking him to identify if the girl from yesterday was present. When the man learned the police were searching for the phone, he insisted he had absolutely nothing to do with it. But when the officer dialed the number, the ringtone echoed from inside. Sure enough, Mike's phone was found on the sofa. At that moment, Nick spotted a family portrait on the table. One was the girl who had just wandered off. The man claimed they were all his daughters, and Nick was looking for the youngest. Lisa, though deaf and mute, she had a kind heart. Hiding nearby, Lisa knew she'd caused a huge mess. Meanwhile, Mike used the binoculars and spotted the two girls who had gone on a date with them that day. He immediately approached to ask what had happened, but to his shock, they claimed not to know him. After Nick assessed the situation, he intended to take Ann and Anna back to the station for questioning. Suddenly, two young men appeared out of nowhere, demanding why they were taking their girlfriends away. It turned out the sisters already had boyfriends. Seeing his daughters about to be taken, the man panicked and revealed his true merman form. The man behind them quickly recognized Nick as a Grimm. Freezing in terror, Nick warned him not to lie to a Grimm, but the man stood silent, seemingly burdened by some unspeakable secret. Meanwhile, Nick revealed Grimm's true identity to the girls, yet they remained tight-lipped. Even as their bodies showed signs of dehydration, they refused to reveal the merfolk's secrets, choosing death over betrayal. Nick found himself in a bind. He couldn't possibly let them die in police custody. Just then, the girl's father arrived to confess. The man immediately admitted to all charges, clearly aiming to exonerate his daughters. Seeing this, Nick instantly devised a plan. He went to Ann and Anna's cell and released them, deliberately mentioning their father's confession, and knew she could no longer hide the truth, though he wasn't their biological father. So Ann revealed the merfolk's secret. Male merfolk, naturally unable to bear children, had been raising others' offspring since birth. Some merfolk accepted this, but most couldn't. Thus, they killed the human males who provided the seed, venting their pent-up resentment. They had long since abandoned such extreme practices, but their boyfriends came from elsewhere, places where these harsh rules still prevailed. They'd been betrothed since childhood, with no say in choosing their partners. Meanwhile, Lisa secretly sought out Mike. She expressed her love through sign language. To make Mike remember her, Lisa plunged into the pool, revealing her mermaid form. Mike was instantly captivated, but Lisa's two brothers-in-law suddenly appeared, knocking Mike unconscious with a club, before dragging Lisa from the water. Clearly, they intended to punish him for the earlier incident. After regaining consciousness, Mike immediately called the police. Upon hearing this, Annie grew frantic. Her sister must have saved Mike. Enraging the two men, they planned to harm Lisa. By then, Lisa had been dragged to the pier by her two brothers-in-law. They intended to transform her and then cut off her limbs. Nick arrived just in time during the crisis. In desperation, the brothers knocked Lisa unconscious and tied her to an anchor, sinking her to the bottom. They then planned to eliminate the two officers to silence them. But one of them turned out to be a Grim. After overpowering the brothers, Nick plunged into the water and ultimately rescued Lisa. Just then, their father arrived with the two sisters. Seeing Lisa unharmed, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. The next day, Mike identified the brothers at the police station. Endless prison life awaited them.